In a sea of competitors, how do you make your brand stand out? This is a problem that a lot of businesses today face, and in this video we're going to go through some actionable strategies to help you make your brand shine. So what is brand differentiation? Well, simply put, it's what makes you unique in the marketplace. It's about highlighting what sets you apart from the rest and why your customers should choose you over your competition. Think of any brand that you love. Each of these would have mastered the art of differentiation and standing out from the competition. For example, Apple. Apple isn't just about computers, it's about innovation and design and thinking differently. Nike, it's not just about sportswear, it's about empowering and giving inspiration to every athlete on the planet. So here are 6 strategies that you can use to help your brand differentiate from the competition. Number 1, identifying unique selling points. To start differentiating, you need to identify your unique selling points or USPs. A USP is something that helps your product or service to stand out in the marketplace, and it's the answer to the question, why should your customers choose you? To find your USPs, start by analysing your competition, what are they currently offering, and where do you see gaps? Next, understand your customers' needs and desires, and what problems you can solve for them. Next, you need to highlight what you do better and differently to everybody else. So when you think about USPs, think about your competition, what are they offering, where are the gaps? Think about your customers' needs, desires and problems, how can you help them live a better life, what can you do for them? And then think about what you do better than anyone else and also what makes you completely unique. A great example of this is Tom's Shoes, whose one-for-one model really differentiated it in the marketplace and also appealed to socially conscious consumers. So Tom's did a one-for-one model. So every shoe that was bought, one pair of shoes would be donated to somebody in need who needed those pair of shoes. And that model it completely differentiated from the competition. It put it in a sort of category of its own and made it stand out from the rest. So that's a great example of a unique selling proposition and something where it actually helps the customer to be involved in a journey and feel something, an emotional connection, and as though they're doing some good. So that's a really great example with Tom's Shoes of how they did that, how they differentiated, and how they're still known, the explosion of that phenomenon, and why they're still talked about in case studies like this, or in examples where people talk about great brands that have done not only good for the world, but also and had a great impact, positive impact, but also have differentiated effectively. Number 2, building a strong brand identity. So this can be across your logo, this is your colors, your fonts, your patterns that you use, backgrounds, imagery styles, the way you utilize video, your tone of voice, your messaging. What is your brand? What do you stand for? How do you encompass that as your brand identity? And an intrinsic part of your brand identity is your brand story. So why you do what you do, the core of your brand. Why do you exist beyond making a profit? Your brand's purpose. So this is a really powerful thing you can tap into, and it also sets up the core of your brand, and then that builds the rest of your brand from it. So actually, if this can be differentiated, if this can be something that no one else is doing, you already set yourself apart from the competition. And the rest of the brand, as you develop it and you build upon that core brand, will be differentiated. In a lot of cases, no one can copy how your origin of your brand came to be. No one can copy how the brand was developed, either the struggles or the backstory of why this brand came to be, the problem you were solving, the gap you saw, the cause you wanted to help. All these things can be something that are completely original. And whereas people can try and copy other parts of your brand, what they can't copy is the soul and the heart of your brand, why you started the brand in the first place, why you do what you do, what you're looking to achieve, how you're going to plan to achieve it. All of these things can be completely unique and differentiate your brand. A great example of this is Patagonia, and their whole brand story is woven into the fabric of everything they do as a brand, and it is completely who they are. So right down to the fact that they even did a campaign based on the fact of don't buy this jacket, don't buy a new jacket from us, you have your existing one, or buy second hand. The whole idea was to create a sustainable mindset and improve that across the globe, and their commitment to sustainability is something that feeds through the whole brand and is constantly there at the forefront of what they do, which sets them apart in the market completely. It changes their personality, it changes the way they approach things, it changes the way that they deliver campaigns and talk to their customers. The whole brand has been positioned differently around that core purpose, and that's a great example of differentiating around that core, that soul that heart of the brand. Like with Patagonia, a great way to do this is you need to communicate to your audience either your values, what you believe, what you stand for. And you don't need to do this implicitly. You don't need to say these are our values, this is what we believe. You don't have to say it in those words. But Patagonia oozes what it believes. It oozes its values through everything that it does. It's the same with Tesla. If I said to you, what is Tesla's vision? What's their goal? What's their purpose? What you would say would be quite close to the actual statement. It wouldn't be word for word. It wouldn't be the perfect mission statement, the perfect brand purpose statement. It wouldn't be those, but you would get close to it because Tesla lives and breathes what it does. Patagonia lives and breathes what it does and what it believes. And that's the idea. If you can do that, you can differentiate from all your competitors, and they can't touch you because no one can copy that authenticity, that core, that heart. They can try, but if they don't fully believe in it, it will never be the same as a brand that is fully on mission and fully on purpose. Number 3, innovating and evolving. Now, the market landscape is always changing. So therefore you need to, as a brand, be adaptable and flexible and have the ability to innovate and change with that market and be able to adapt and evolve with your customers. Because over time, your customers will get more savvy, they'll have more options, they'll have sort of easier decisions to make when it comes to purchasing. So you need to make sure that as your brand grows and changes, the market will change with you and you have to adapt with that. You have to be able to move with it. You have to constantly be able to innovate and reinvent who you are and what you do. And the last step would help with that. So identifying the core purpose of your brand, the sort of heart of your brand, along with your USPs, are a great way to keep on top of things and be able to adapt and innovate as markets change. Because if you have a core purpose that is steadfast, then as a market changes, you might have to change some of your products, you might have to adapt them, change your services to match that. But if you maintain that core purpose, you maintain a consistency throughout the brand as it evolves and changes, it makes decision making easier, it makes innovating easier, it makes creativity easier. As I've said previously, you can't think outside the box unless you created the box first. Developing your brand strategy and the foundation of it is creating that box that then you can think outside of. So being nimble and being ready is better than having to catch up and try and change. For example, BlackBerry, when iPhone came in and obviously took the market and BlackBerry phones were kind of left almost overnight, disappeared pretty much, they then had to pivot, they had to change what they did, they had to go back to the core of who they were as a brand, and now they do security and software solutions, which is a pivot completely. But that was one of the big USPs with the BlackBerry phones, was they were so secure and safe. So what they've done is they've gone, right, the phone was a vehicle for our security and our kind of protective nature. What we're going to do now is we'll drop the phone because we can't do that anymore. We can't differentiate in that space because it's moved past us. But what we can do is we can own this section and we can now develop with any market and any change if we're known as this type of company. So if you can do that and develop around your purpose, around what makes you unique, then as things change, you can innovate and change with them. A great example of this is Netflix, who started off doing Love Film, which was like a DVD rental service where you would choose your films and you get sent 2 films in the post. And they obviously pivoted and changed into a streaming service. And it absolutely revolutionized the way we watch TV, the way that we watch series, the way that now that the choice that we have is completely different. My kids don't understand what it's like to wait until a Friday night to when you're 8 years old to see DuckTales on TV. They can just watch the whole series in one go and they can watch it on repeat. It's a completely different world now to when I was younger, and that's because of brands that are innovating and changing like Netflix all the time. Number 4, engaging with your audience. So another way to differentiate is by connecting with a particular group of people, building a community and engaging with that audience. And that can be through social media, that can be through hosted events, that can be through online groups or a community, or it could even be customized and personalized experiences, which a lot of people are now championing and looking for, is more of that personalized approach. So if you as a brand can differentiate, if you can talk to a group of people, niche down into a community, you're talking directly to a group of people, you can talk to them as though you are an old friend, you can talk to them using language that they are frequent in and relevant in. So for example, if you're talking to a group of snowboarders, you can use words like carve, catching an edge and all these different things. But you can also meet them where they are. You can create communities, events, host parties, host seminars or presentations where these group of people can come together and you build a community around the brand. This can be a really great way to differentiate from your competitors. And it can also be a way to foster a community of loyal brand fans and then advocates. More and more brands are using the personalized approach. If you just think of things like Amazon, now like you've got your recommendations for things that you might like. If you go onto Google, all of your searches are based on you, your personal searches, what you previously looked for, where you are, these kind of things, what's close to you. So all these things are now getting more and more personalized. Everything we try and do as marketers when we talk to people is through a personalized approach. We're trying to understand customers better, looking at customer journeys. All these different things about personalization, because more and more people want to feel as though they are the center of the conversation and that brands are talking to them directly. So if you can do that with your customers, you can stand out from the competition. There's no better example of this than Harley Davidson. I mean, people get the logo tattooed on their body just because they love the brand so much. They've done such a great job of creating a community around the brand, creating a counterculture for the brand as the rebel outlaw archetype, you know, that also has part of the every person archetype in it, which is where this community comes from. And utilizing, you know, this idea of you're part of a global community of like a counterculture, you know, you get each other, you're part of a secret club. It's a fantastic way to build a brand and to build loyalty and to build die-hard fans that would go the extra mile even to have your brand tattooed on their body forever. Number 5, leveraging emotional appeal. Now, an often overlooked way to differentiate is actually through creating emotional appeal with your audience. So whether you can make your audience feel hopeful, feel joyous, feel happy, feel wise, feel empowered, feel motivated, feel rebellious, feel liberated, feel explorative, whatever it is that you can do to make your audience feel something and feel as though your brand has been the thing that's enabled them to do that, that's a powerful differentiator. Most businesses, most brands don't do this. They don't go to that level of developing a brand strategy that utilizes brand personality, utilizes things like brand archetypes in order to connect their audience on a deeper level. They don't go the extra mile to do that. And because of it, they don't quite hit as hard as those brands that do it. And you feel something. Coca-Cola does it. So much so that a great example is obviously New Coke. And with New Coke, they did taste tests and they found out that everyone said that Pepsi tasted better than Coke. And so they redid the Coca-Cola formula. They changed it. They redid taste tests and everyone said that New Coke tasted better than Pepsi in blind taste tests. So they launched it. They launched it out to everybody and everyone hated it because it wasn't Coca-Cola. So even if it tasted better than Pepsi, if you were to try them side by side, everybody wanted Coca-Cola, the original. And why was that? Because they had so many connections to that brand, from the taste, from the way that the bottle opens, the old glass bottles, or even the can, the way that it sounds, the way that it looks, the writing, the script writing on the can itself. And at the core of it, with Coca-Cola, it's about joy. It's about happiness. You know, their tagline was open happiness. It's all about that. It's about feeling that innocent archetype, that kind of dreamy kind of safe space. Being a kid, being on a street corner, sun's beating down, you're playing with your friends, life is great. That's what Coca-Cola gives you in a tiny can or in a glass bottle. And if you can do that with your brand to your audience and invoke those kind of memories, those kind of feelings, that is where you want to get to. Number 6, niche focus or specialization. A great way to differentiate is by niching down or specializing in a particular area with a particular group of people, particular industry, or particular product type. You can do it by picking a particular segment, like we said, and focusing in on that. You can also do it by creating a subcategory or even a new category, which can be completely different from anything else that's out there. You can do it by specializing in a particular type of work or a particular type of customer or a particular tricky situation that is something that not many people do, so you can really specialize. And you can even create your own kind of specializations. As long as you can communicate it to your audience, you can create demand for it. So you could create a really high premium product or service that in that industry is just not there. Now you need to be careful because there might be a reason why it's not there, and it might be that the customers are not willing to pay a premium for that product. But if you can value add, if you can stack ideas into it, if you can build up the reason why something is premium in that industry, then there is no reason why you can't do that and you can't differentiate in that way by being a bit more niche and specialized there. You can also go the other way. You can create an affordable solution inside of an industry that is predominantly premium. Now again, you want to be careful. There's probably a reason why there isn't one already, but there might be a way to do it, and it might be that just as technology gets faster, as technology gets better, there is now a place where you can do something that is cost effective in a premium kind of market, where you can actually come in and service customers that don't actually have a space in that market because everything's too premium. Example of this is GoPro, whose products are synonymous with outdoors and adventure and action sports and all those kind of things, where you want to capture it as an event, a real adrenaline filled event, but also it goes hand in hand with that. You're trying to connect with that audience and help them to capture those moments. It's a fantastic brand that does a really great job of utilizing user generated content to promote the products themselves. It's a really clever sort of masterstroke they've done, where they've taken the product itself and they've used it in the wild and they've just used it as it is, and then they've utilized that to showcase to a group of people that are already doing that but not filming it. This is what you could be doing. We've now built a camera here that you can use when you're surfing, that you can use when you're snowboarding, that you can use when you're canoeing, all these different things. And it's so lightweight and it's so small, and it can be attached to your helmet or your head or your arm or wherever it is, front of your surfboard. And it's just a great product that is really serving that industry. It's so it's niche. It can be used by lots of people, and lots of people outside of that kind of core target audience will buy it. But it's developed and it's designed by people who enjoy the outdoors and action sports, for people who partake in it and want to document what they do. So it's a fantastic example of niching down, of specializing, of filling a gap, creating a solution to a problem that was previously there, of how could you film these adventures, and now they have a solution for it. Number 7, collaboration and partnerships. So another great way to differentiate is by partnering up or collaborating with influencers or celebrities or other brands that can help to raise awareness about your brand whilst you do the same for them, but also it makes sense to come together, and it kind of creates this co-branding that elevates both of your brands to another level. So you see this with people like Lego. They partnered with NASA to create kind of NASA themed Lego sets, and Lego have been doing it quite a lot with a lot of franchises from Marvel to Star Wars to great effect. I mean, that's a fantastic partnership. It makes complete sense, not just for the fact that they're both great sources of more brand awareness to get through to the Star Wars audience or the Marvel audience, but at the same time it allows you to have access to those fans. If you start creating merchandise together, you have this collaboration, which is fantastic. And the same with that is with, we did a video on it, all about co-branding. So things like Lady Gaga and Oreo was a great combination, where they created special Lady Gaga themed Oreos that were pink with green cream filling in the middle, and it was for her album that she brought out that had Stupid Love on it. And essentially that was a great sort of partnership and collaboration for everyone involved, because it allowed Lady Gaga to have access to all of Oreo sort of fans, and also get all of her fans, obviously from Oreo's perspective, to buy those biscuits and to maybe become Oreo fans as well if they weren't already, which they probably were, to be fair. But also they had extra things in there, like they had QR codes and things where you could go and you could sing certain songs on the website and upload it and win prizes. So they did a whole co-branding approach, and it was a really successful thing. So partnerships with influencers, celebrities, other brands is a great way to differentiate. It's a great way to create buzz, and it's a great way to think outside the box when you come together. If you know who you are and the other brand knows who they are, and you can come together and create something a bit different that aligns with both of you, so it makes sense, it can actually be a really, really good way of differentiating from the competition, but creating a massive impact and buzz around both your brands. So now you know some ways to differentiate from the competition. Do you want to know what is holding your brand back, where it's strong, where it's weak, and how you can improve? Well, we actually have a 4-minute brand power assessment. The link is in the description below. If you take that, you'll be given a customized report based on your answers, which is about your brand, and it will showcase to you what's holding you back, where you're strong, where you're weak, and how you can improve. The link for that is in the description below. If you've enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, please subscribe using the button below and make sure to hit the bell notification so that you're notified every time a new video drops. Videos come out weekly and they're designed to help you unlock your brand's full potential so you can stand out from the competition and create more impact. Have a great week, catch up soon, and make sure to keep those brands unified.